So what's up, everybody? As I eloquently ended the show a few minutes ago, I totally forgot that we had one more flex off matchup to go over at the running back position between Tyler and Brian. So thank you very much for tuning back in. Let's get this last question in, and of course, this will be spliced into the podcast that will go out tomorrow. All right, running backs flex off. Tyler versus Brian. Brian, why don't you start us off? Who's a running back that you're high on this week that you should be starting or flexing?
Okay, so I chose Chase Edmonds. He's just been coming up in some conversations lately. We talked about him a little bit the last couple of weeks on my Dynasty podcast. He was involved in a trade today in a Debbie league that I was in that was sort of a very interesting trade. And so he's kind of been on my mind. So I'm like, let's talk about him. All right, so, he's ranked number 20 in ECR. They're at Dallas, and Dallas is mixed. They're fifth against the running back, but 29th in rush defense. They're eighth in coverage, so maybe since he's a pass catcher more, that hurts him. But let's talk about Connor, who I believe is likely to be back, but still unsure. And if so, he probably would be limited. But Dallas is good against the run for the most part, and especially in fantasy points to the running back. They've been bottling up running backs, and I think they allow 0.5 touchdowns a game to him recently. And, Connor is a TD guy, right? And so I think that we're going to be shifting focus here to Edmonds, also because there's shootout potential over under 51.5%, which means they're not going to want to ground and pound with Connor. They're going to be focusing on Edmonds as a receiver. And Dallas is 10th in pass rush. Micah Parsons is a thing. They may pressure Kyler into quick, short passes, a.k.a. to Edmonds. Kyler seems off a little bit and not running as much as he used to, so I don't think that's going to sort of, suck the energy away from other people to produce like Edmonds. And finally, there's no D-Hop, right? Rondale Moore has basically been a non-factor. AJ Green, depends on the week. Sometimes, he sees some targets. Christian Kirk is a very good option that I like, but the point I'm trying to make is that when it comes to like a usage tree or whatever, Edmonds is going to be high on it this week in what should be a high scoring game where they'll have to pass more. Whereas Tyler's boy Devin Singletary has a great matchup against Atlanta, probably a positive game script, has definitely had increased usage, has had good games lately, including even one against good defense in New England. But Atlanta's also bad against the pass. What does Buffalo like to do more than run? Pass. Singletary might get, some garbage time work maybe. But I just see that, they're going to be chucking the ball. They have a full wide receiver core, as Tyler mentioned earlier. They have Dawson Knox. I just don't think they're going to be using Singletary as much as maybe he has been used lately. End of rant. Tyler, go.
All right. I feel like a lot of people don't know who Devin Singletary is. I'm sure if you've been in the dynasty scene and all that and pay close attention, you are aware of Devin Singletary, but you aren't aware of how prolific of production he had in college. This dude is just a player. He's not exceptional and with athleticism or anything like that. He's very quick. He's a very slippery athlete. But he went to Florida Atlantic. He was a freshman All-American. He was a second-team All-American. His sophomore year, he was a third-team All-American. His junior year, first-team All-Conference USA. He had 66 touchdowns in college. I just want to throw that out there. That dude knows how to get in the end zone. All right, so to his actual NFL production. Devin Singletary, as an argument to what you were saying, Brian, he is matchup proof right now. He is game script proof right now. He is going to play. Matt Breida and Zach Moss have combined for 8 opportunities in the past 3 weeks, with both being a healthy scratch at least once. The Bills have totally given up on every running back on their roster except for Devin Singletary. They have voiced that. They have let people know we are totally comfortable riding Devin Singletary. Their second leading rusher in all these past 3 games has been Josh Allen. The games that they played that were close, the Bucs and the Patriots game was closer than the box score. So we'll just say that. He had 7 targets in the Bucs game, 6 targets in the Patriots game. And in the game that wasn't close, he had 22 carries. They are going to get him opportunities regardless. They got a great matchup. He has a great matchup against the Falcons, giving up the 9th most points to the running back position. They're at home. They absolutely need to win these final 2 games with the Pats nipping at their heels for the AFC East and trying to get better playoff positioning. Singletary is in a smash spot this week. I would gladly start him on most rosters, and he is flat out, he's the workhorse for the Bills right now.
Right. Okay. So this is I think this is a great situation where I look at the defensive matchups and see who scares me the most. And without a shadow of a doubt, Dallas scares me the most. You brought up the good point of Micah Parsons, and the defensive line getting to Kyler Murray. You got the linebacking core, you got the safeties, you got cornerback play. I mean, this is. There was a time where I would have said this is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a fantastic game. I don't know if Dallas takes its foot off the gas against what they did against Washington, and they may do the same to a certain degree with Arizona. Yes, Connor is limited. It did not practice today, and then Edmonds was limited. Obviously, we'll have to see as practice reports go throughout the week. On the flip side, I do like the argument here by Tyler of Devin Singletary. Look, he has been the guy in the backfield. This offense is clicking on all cylinders, and it's because of the must-win situation. I guess it's not technically a must-win, but they need to win to finish out this season strong to get into the playoffs and potentially get the AFC East title. It's for that reason, I think, because we've seen the offense rolling on all cylinders with Buffalo more so than you have with Arizona, even though there is the need to dump off the ball for Arizona if there's no James Conner. I'm going to side with Tyler on this one with Devin Singletary.
Motor Singletary, baby. Motor on.
So basically, Brian, you came on for 7 minutes and 50 seconds to basically be told that you didn't win the flex-off matchup. But that is okay. We will have plenty more opportunities for redemption, as well as great fantasy advice that both of these gentlemen give you week in and week out here at Fantasy and Frames. So with that, check out all of our work over at fantasyandframes.com, as well as check us out on the Forward Pregame Show this Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. We should have the full Frames crew complement here going for our last pregame show of the season, for the fantasy football season, I should say. And so with that, Jorge, this is Tyler and Brian. Follow them on Twitter. Ask them all your questions. We'll see you next week, folks.